A lot of rabbinic scholars would actually say that Adam was split in half, and one side was Adam, and one side was Eve. In fact, in Hebrew, the term helpmeet, people always say, well, she was just a helpmeet. That means that she was less than Adam was. Not true. God himself, a Yahwist, God himself refers to himself as helpmeet across the Old Testament, which means that she is at least his equal, if not greater than.
Well, on the second page it said she was to serve Adam.
No, it calls her helpmeet. Again, helpmeet is the same reference as
I'm just going to read out your Bible, Jude.
God refers to himself.
The free Masonic
Yeah,
Bible.
but you have to remember, you read from the King James Version, which I am
the
not
Bible
partial
you gave
to.
me, so own it.
Again, I don't use that.
Where'd my beer go?
Gonna break out a little more here. I'm going to point out that Gumby reached for the pumpkin ale.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and thy desire shall be thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like she's in second place there. I mean, her husband shall rule over thee. I'm pretty sure that means that she's number 2 in that.
Yes and no.
No.
Yes and no.
No.
Yes. Because
Yeah,
you have to
that
take
pretty
that,
means yeah.
you
He
have
rules
to take
over.
that back to
That's
the
what it means.
Hebrew.
Right here.
Okay. Again, show it to me in Hebrew.
All right.
Well, George works on that.
Just turn it upside down.
Well, George works on that.
I like your
I'm going to
reaction.
ask Mike and Gumby, do you think there are 2 creation tales? Genesis 1 and 2. Are those 2 creation tales?
In Genesis,
Yes.
I'm gonna. No.
All right. I have 1 no.
I mean, if you read it literally, you would think yes, but I don't think they're 2 creation tales. I think they're just 2 ways of wording it and not meant to be taken literally.
All right.
You're saying just from the Christian point of view?
I'm saying textually.
I'm saying just
Textual.
from the Semitic Christian, whatever we got,
He's
just
saying
from the way we've
sexually,
learned it,
interpreted sexually.
just from the point of view that, you know,
There are 2 Genesis chapters
Under
when you
the
interpret it
Christian-
sexually.
under the Christian umbrella, right?
All right.
Which Catholics do fall under, right? They're Christian, right?
Yeah, we are Christian. We are the first. Okay. go ahead.
Oh.
And the last.
We are the Adam of Christians.
and any other, you know, denomination under that. I would say there's only one. But
All right.
that's just dealing with ours.
I'm going to point out something very interesting.
I know you are.
How
Somewhere all the way across the planet.
How many
there's a similar
times-
Story, and
how
we're
many-
supposed to care.
How many times is Adam mentioned in chapter 1?
1, 2.
Dagnabbit, Aaron, come on.
Chapter 1. How many times is Adam mentioned in chapter 1?
I'm going with once.
Okay, we got
Nope,
once.
at least 3 times.
We got once. We got 3.
I
We
mean,
got
that's
3.
just hold on. I
right.
got the actual Bible here.
Oh, go ahead.
And
tell
so
me. Yeah.
1, 2, and then it's when they first mention them up here. God created them. Yeah, blah 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 blah.
No. I didn't say man. How many times is Adam?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
What did you say?
Well, I only seen it 3 times so far. You won't let me read more.
Wait. You said the man.
No, I said Adam.
What verse in chapter was it?
Well, right. Okay, he's right here. And unto Adam, he said. That was
That's chapter 2.
3:17. Oh, in the first chapter.
37.
No, let's see. God created this image and image of God. Male, God blessed them, and God blah 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 blah. Fish over sea. God.
I mean, I can cut to the quick if you
On
want.
face every tree yielding seed.
Yeah, that's
Every
not
beast
getting-
of
Would you like the
earth.
answer?
Yes.
All
Answer.
hail
All right.
Satan. And
So,
women
Adam,
are number
by
2.
name, is never mentioned in chapter 1. There is no
Oh my gosh.
And why is that cool?
There is no Adam in chapter 1. So, my question to you is Adam in chapter 1?
So God created man in his own image.
That would,
Yeah, so he created a male and female.
Right? Okay.
So when does he first give them their
Right.
name?
So Adam is not mentioned in chapter 1, correct?
not by name.
Not by name, right? All right.
Okay.
Moving into chapter 2, there's a very key term that you should look for. This is the generations of, correct?
Yeah.
All right. What you need to know in Hebrew is that whenever it says these are the generations of, it is either a sequel to the previous verse or a recursive.
What?
It's
Why
either
would-
a sequel
Right.
or a
so
prequel.
it would be recursive.
Yes. So if it's recursive, if it's recursive in chapter 2 at the start, is it a symbolic mentioning or is it a proper name? Because if you go back through and you read the beginning of when it says these are the generations of, according to Hebrew grammar, it's better understood as recursive. And in that case, Adam is mentioned as the human
Yeah.
of chapter 1. It's not a proper context or name. It's not a person. It's archetypal.
I see that. I mean, I've seen Chronicles of Narnia. So, what's your point to that, though?
So my point is that you actually don't enter a proper context of a pronoun or a proper name
Uh-huh.
until later in chapter 2.
So the point was just to describe the beginning of the human.
So in other words, you don't even have a person. You have an archetype in chapter 1, even starting into chapter 2. It's archetypal. It's not an individual person.
Yeah, right. So they don't. Did they ever talk? And I'm trying to peruse now, but
And that is the most interesting part.
Totally clips the feet underneath people who's saying that everyone just came from Adam and Eve.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because by the time you get to that point, by the time it actually starts the story of the actual person in Hebrew, pronounced as the first man, you were already in the story going into Cain and Abel.
I'm going Catholic. I'm sticking out my tongue. Bless me, Father.
So if you follow that process, which by the way is laid out by none other than John Walton, a Protestant. All right. So there's one for the Protestants. All right.
Only took 2
So-
hours.
So John Walton actually lays this out as recursive. And if it's recursive, it's all of it is archetypal until you reach later into chapter 2.
So do you believe in a literal Adam and Eve?
Only once it reaches into the context of an archetypal Adam and Eve. Yes, I do believe there was an Adam and Eve.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Even science, this is going to mess with George's head so well, so I have to say this. Even science backs Eve.
Yeah, but it would. It's invented by the Catholics.
Of course. So,
yeah, because science really backs
George.
apples that determine.
Hey
sin
George.
for
Hey
man.
George.
Yeah.
Hey
that's-
George. Does science back the first Eve?
Oh, that's
Probably
wrong.
not.
That's wrong.
Probably not. Not if it's evolution. Not if we believe in evolution.
So are you saying that there's no Eve?
So you're now
gonna say
saying
that
that
there's
science
no-
doesn't back women.
Is that what he's
So
saying?
you've never heard of mitochondrial Eve?
Oh, jeez Louise.
Are you saying that you totally do not vouch for mitochondrial?
Yeah, I'm gonna put my foot down, and
Eve.
I'm gonna say I think most of this is bullshit. Yeah, so, I
So,
think this is all dumb. Yeah,
according
I think
to
if it's
science-
evolution, there wasn't started off with 2 people. Right here, God's talking about how
according-
He didn't want man to be alone. So
according-
he's saying that there was one man. So I know you were trying to talk about like how he was just talking about man in general, and then like Adam didn't come around to the second chapter. He's talking about Adam being alone and then him creating life around him.
Are you talking about chapter 2 now?
Yeah, I'm talking about chapter.
What about chapter 1, though?
But I'm saying he's probably talking about Adam because he's talking about there's no other life
Oh.
up until chapter 2. He's talking about Adam.
All
And he
right.
says, like, humankind.
Yeah, but he's alone up until the second chapter.
Mm-hmm.
It's only him.
Right, if you're reading
The
it
Bible.
chronologically, like chapter 1 is before chapter 2, but
I would hope so.
No,
God, this would be the worst book ever if it wasn't at least that.
it's not chronological.
So you mean chapter 2 may have come first? I would hope so.
2
'cause
is
he
like-
starts building everything
I've
in
actually
chapter
heard
1.
that
So I would
argument
hope.
before, yeah.
I would hope chapter 1 is
Actually-
chapter 1. I really hope chapter 1.
No.
Because it says in the beginning. So I
Actually,
can only hope to God.
Okay, so the beginning is definitely the start. I'll give you that.
All right. I can only
So,
hope to God.
I-
Like, please just make some sense to me, Genesis, please.
I'm going.
After the beginning.
Actually,
It's like, well, in context,
So-
beginning in Latin doesn't really mean beginning. It means the end. And means the middle, 3/3 through.
I hate to tell you this, but some people do believe that the priestly element might bring chapter 2 in as a proper chapter 1.
Doesn't Heiser flip it?
Actually, Mike may be right. No one knows for sure, but Mike may be right on this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he did chapter 2 first, I mean, because he makes light of day and earth and everything in chapter 1, so it has to. Otherwise, Adam doesn't have anywhere to be.
We're
Yeah.
saying it's the same story. There's no real order to 1 and 2.
But
It's
then
a recursive.
Oh, I
If
mean,
it's a
he says
recursive,
that he
yes.
makes the earth on day 1.
No,
and
again,
that's why-
if it's recursive, it's a reiteration of chapter 1.
Yes.
It's a reiteration of chapter 1 and then flows into the story of the first humans, which makes more sense if you know Semitic writing. Now,
What if you're not Semitic?
I'm sorry you're so
you-
screwed.
Do you-
Now,
Do you need to be Semitic to get that?
Are you
so
anti?
I am going to.
I'm not Semitic. Does
I
that make me anti?
well, if we all come from the first Eve, aren't we all Semitic? And that brings us to mitochondrial Eve.
I am very interested in the powerhouse of Eve here.
So, in human genetics, the mitochondrial Eve is the matrilineal, most recent common ancestor of all current living humans, i.e.,
Chest start.
the most recent woman from all whom living humans descend in an unbroken line purely through their mothers and through the mothers of their mothers back all the way until lines converge on one woman.
So you're saying
That's science. That's not the Bible. Boom.
what?
I don't know if that's true.
The mic.
Dude,
I don't know if that's true.
That's science.
my phone's dead. Pull it
I
up.
am reading
Reference.
from Wikipedia.
oh,
Shut up.
Which the Catholics invented. Yeah.
I mean, I've donated, so I definitely support.
Yes. And there is reference material behind that.
So the science
I don't want Wikipedia. I want something else.
and scripture is validating that you're saying we're all.
Yes. Now, mind you,
Semitic?
it would not validate the biblical version of Eve because we're talking
There
about
you go.
going back
You're
like
chosen.
100,000 plus years. All right. So it's not validating a 6,000-year-old Eve. It's validating a 150,000-year-old Eve.
That's even more impressive.
It really is. But there was one genetically there was one that started the human race. Because before that you would have had Lucy and the Neanderthals, Cro-Magnon, etc., 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 etc. There is one that defines the human race, and that is mitochondrial Eve.
And you're saying she had to be.
We are all related back. Actually, I hate to tell you this, she's probably African.
Okay, I can deal with that.
All right.
Yeah, that's Puerto Rican.
She is probably of African descent. You know,
Did they know?
which, by the
in
way,
Egypt, did they know about Africa?
most early Christians were African because they came out. Most Christians came out of Alexandria. So most Catholics originate from African descent. We all relate back to one
Symbolically
Eve.
Semitic.
We are all
what is
symbolically Semitic
Wait,
in the
I don't
most
understand
basic
Semitic.
sense.
What is Semitic anyway?
Of that origin around that area.
If you take
Mesopotamia.
if you take in parts of Africa as the ancient Mesopotamian basin, which it's pretty close, then
Even
yes,
Native Americans?
yes, Native Americans.
Throwing my bullshit.
I mean, to be honest, and I do have an episode coming up based on this because there is the Native American people have a lot of similarities to the early Jewish people. So we are going to do an episode based on that, just not yet.
Early Jewish people. What Jewish
All right.
people?
Early Jewish people. But we'll bring that out later because it's fascinating. It is absolutely fascinating. And I'm not going to even start right now
You
because
already did. Like my brain is fried. Like wait,
If
so
the
Jewish
basis
people were
is
all black
Pangea, then I
and
would
they were
get
all
it.
Indian.
If the basis was one continent, that would make more sense to me.
all right, so we'll tackle that much later. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for very interesting things. Back to Genesis. So, my question to you, and I'm going to let you think about this for a second. How come Adam is said to be born of dust and not mud? Because according to the earliest legends, both Mesopotamian and Grecian, humans are made from mud. And yet, the Jewish tale departs from that and says he's born from dust.
Yeah, you're doing percentage of total religion.
Yeah,
you're doing
like
percentage
you,
of population.
Like you
Yes.
are, you are corporate America, and I'm currently a Democrat.
And I'm okay. I'm saying I'm unimpressed that you find
for
it
George.
intriguing. Am I allowed to say that? I'm unimpressed. Okay, so to refine my argument,
Okay,
I am unimpressed.
George Trump.
I do not find that intriguing. All right, and the reason being, I feel like that's just religion 101. Like you feel like that's so like you're like, oh, they have this God that's invisible and you don't know who he is. But that's just religion 101. When you make a religion, that's what you're gonna have to do. And so why is that intriguing to you? Why does that make your faith in religion stronger?
How many people are on the earth right now? I'm going to save you time. It's around 9 billion. All right.
So I covered 4 billion of that.
4 billion.
population
So
living
you're
in-
saying that there. Wait. So you're saying that the other, like, well, was it 5/8, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the other 5/8 of the planet has other religious priorities, right?
Well, I didn't Google all of them, but I would imagine a lot of them have
Okay.
an invisible
So-
religious figure in
So,
charge of them.
so again, I'm being far more liberal than you. So, so I'm representing the other religions at this time, ironically,
all right. go
and
ahead.
I'm saying that you are misrepresenting the other religions.
Okay, so you're trying to say you're like, George, how dare you blanket statement all the rest of these religions
Yes.
thinking that they have an invisible religious
Yes, yes, I am.
figure. I would let's do it. Let's pull out your Google machine and let's see how many religions don't have a religious invisible religious figure that they worship in the sky.
You know
Alright.
who invented the Google, right?
Catholics.
So I can't
I mean,
say that.
blanket statements are
Check-
bad, but I mean,
check-
I would imagine You're saying you don't think that's truthful that the majority of religions have an invisible figure that you can't prove exists.
To address that, Sergey Brin and Larry Page are not Catholic, but they did create a search engine for Catholics. It's called Catholic Surf. Anyway,
Oh my god.
so anyway, yes. So let's go to your Japanese. All right. So because you brought up Japan. All right.
Okay.
All right. So the Japanese are predominantly animist.
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, they see dead people.
Actually, that's really close. That is supremely close. So yes, they do believe in both the spirits of the animal world and the spirits of the ancestors. And if you go to the houses, they do have the houses where they have their ancestors and the house animals represented.
Yeah.
All right. So to use your Japanese reference from earlier,
I love their culture.
it's a beautiful, gorgeous culture.
Yeah.
And mind you,
So who's their leader?
it parlays quite nicely with Catholicism and our saints. But anyway,
Who's their leader?
but
In Japan?
well,
Yeah, if you're an Edomist, who's your creator?
Oh.
well, I actually don't know because I'm not an animist. But anyway,
So wait, well, how is that your?
but animism.
How is that your?
Hold on. But animism did morph, okay, because during the early centuries, because Buddhism comes out around, what, 200 BC, right? So as Buddhism makes its way out across the Asian worlds, the animists become Buddhist. So you do have a parlay between Buddhism and animism, and they often are in the same school of thought. So you do have animism and the Buddhists really in the same school of thought, and it's hard to explain.
So,
From a Western viewpoint, it's hard to explain, but it's actually quite beautiful in its contextualism. It's almost poetic the way that it because inside Buddhism you're trying to reach nirvana, right? And everything comes from the void, which actually is quite Taoist as well. Everything comes from the void, and so really all things are trying to reach back to the void because the void is the mother of all inception. And so you have everything going back to the void, and you are at one with it, and all the universe is part of it. And once you align yourself with all of it, animism makes a lot more sense in that respect.
I quit listening because I just didn't care. I'm totally disagreeing with you, and I feel like there's 4 of us in a room. If I'm not making my point, then I'm gonna stop.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry that you hate Buddhists.
You're the one saying they're wrong, not me. So you could have that argument.
I never said they were wrong.
Well, you believe in Catholicism, so they have to be wrong.
I think they have a different interpretation of my ideology.
So yeah, but their interpretation is wrong.
I believe they were misreading things, but not necessarily 100% wrong.
So if you, oh my gosh, shut up! Is that literally your swing on this? All right, I'm gonna take one more chance at bat.
Swing and a miss.
So, and at least so in the 2 religions I brought up, Islam and Christianity. Okay,
Are you
a very large
are you-
amount of human beings that worship this? They have an invisible deity for whom is not tangible or can be found physically on earth. Okay?
Touche.
Was that not clear in my statement I was making
I
earlier?
mean, we're talking outside of Jesus, right? Because he was tangible in human form. And
Right.
you could
But right
smack-
now we're sitting there, we're like going, please God, make me a bird, make me far, far away from here. We're talking to some invisible man in the
All right.
clouds.
Because the angels themselves could also become physical as well.
No, they can't.
According to the Bible, they could.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Should we go
They
back?
don't. Okay, let me
Should
go
we read
back.
those
Before I
passages?
argue angels, let me just say, okay, so I'm making a statement
All right. It's a blanket
that a
statement.
lot. I'll dial back the blanket statement because I understand those are bad. And I also understand that if I make a blanket statement and if there's one religion that someone's making in their basement, that makes it untrue. A lot. Not all. A lot of religions have an invisible deity that is not representative or tangible on earth that you cannot meet their God and talk to them.
So that's not the Old Testament then, right? You're not including the Old Testament. Because that did happen in the Old Testament over and over again.
Right now, today,
All right?
in today's world,
All right?
people believe that, oh my gosh, I hate your argument method right now by trying to confuse me and saying stupid shit. It's pissing me off because I know you know what I mean. I know you know what I mean. And so you're just trying to throw these curveballs at me, and I want to punch you in your mouth so hard right now because you know what I mean. And I know you know what I mean. And I literally want to strangle Juice so hard right now.
This is why I should have been a lawyer.
Right. You should be a lawyer for this right now because I'm so pissed.
Dude, you are being his,
I am
I don't know
so
your wife,
frustrated by Juice
but,
right now.
Aaron is being your wife right now.
He really is. He's making me explain myself. I know. So sometimes when I'm arguing with people, I'm a smart ass and I ask them a bunch of questions, making them explain themselves more, and that's what Juice is doing to me. And I want to punch him in his freaking forehead so hard.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
Why do you find it intriguing and special that other religions have an invisible, non-tangible deity that they worship that are similar in nature? Why does that make your spirituality stronger?
You said spiritual. That's
Oh.
different. Than
Spiritual is not tangible. So
Well, you're just like, oh, that's amazing.
But
all these places
my-
have the same story, and
my
I'm just saying that's
problem-
religion 101. That's how you do it, baby. It's not unique.
Again,
that's
my-
how you make a religion.
My problem with
Scientology. It's some invisible spaceman. They've
No.
never seen him. He's an invisible spaceman. But I'm saying that's religion 101, and you're be like, wow, you can't see him. It must be.
Let's not bring up the religion of Tom Cruise, but
Tom Cruise and your voodoo magic. Come help me right now. Go ahead.
I would give far more credence to Buddha than I would to Tom Cruise.
Ouch. Maybe some of his movies.
Yeah, that last Mission Impossible was legit.
Which I
Listen,
still don't understand.
Good
Anyways.
actor, good actor. Not going to take him away from his acting skills because that guy is amazing in his movies. I am a Tom Cruise fan. I can't deny it.
There we go. We agree on that. I mean, that is a movie star, man.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That is a movie star. Yeah.
Don't ever let him
Top
to
Gun.
another Oprah interview. Just
don't-
don't ever let Oprah interview him again.
I mean, his confidence has to be so high, but yeah, they don't make them like that anymore.
No,
That's a good
no,
old-fashioned movie.
I
star
am.
right
I
there.
am so looking forward to the opening weekend of the next Top Gun.
Anywho,
Anyway,
why is Invisible Deity interesting and unique and inspiring to you?
but you're only covering two religions. You're
I'm saying most. I'm not going to say all because I understand that.
all right.
But even that one you were just talking about, was it, what did you just say with the E? Epitomus or something like that?
Edemism? That's a name.
Edomites? I don't want to butcher the name. I Googled it. It's QOZ. So I don't know what the Q, how you're going to
It's
say it.
Shangdi.
All right?
Yes.
It's QOZ is Shangdi.
Yes. It's a Chinese pronunciation.
I'm glad. You're right. Yeah.
It's Chinese pronunciation.
He's an invisible deity.
I didn't do it.
He's an invisible deity.
Yes, he is.
So why was he your subject? Why was he your reason? Why was he your reason I'm wrong? He's an invisible deity that no one can see.
Oh no.
Juice.
So Shangdi.
I'm gonna punch you in the face. Give me another invisible deity and tell me he's visible.
So Shangdi is an anomaly. They do believe that Shangdi was an early example of how Jewish people actually migrated to China.
Buddha is an
China.
invisible deity. He's
You
no
should
longer
have went
alone.
with Santa Claus.
Not
Should've
Buddha,
went with
because
Santa
Buddha
Claus.
Buddha is not a living man.
no Buddha
Buddha
was
is not a living man. He's an invisible deity. So if you think
But he's
he's
not.
answering your questions and prayers, he's not here.
Buddha was Confucius.
All right. Well, he's in another planet, or he's not here. He's not
No.
in this dimension. He's not a tangible human being.
Confucius.
I'm gonna punch you in your face if you say that to me one more time.
He was a real man.
All right,
Buddha
but
was
right
real
now,
man.
today, I know.
Yeah.
Today, he is not, and people are communicating
But
with
he
him and
wasn't a
speaking to him.
god.
But he is now.
No, he's not. He said
Google
he
said
wasn't.
he was.
No, he's not. He was he was the leader of Zen and Buddhism. Buddhism is about enlightenment. Buddhism is about nirvana.
Yeah, but
Right,
doesn't
he's a
they-
deity. Needless to say, whatever. Okay, he's not
Okay.
a god. He's a deity of some sort.
So,
I'm saying they communicate with him, and he's not a tangible person.
Forget Buddhism. Do people still communicate with Yahweh today?
If you are Jewish, yes. And
So Buddhism.
if you are Christian, then yes.
I just found out I wasn't Christian.
That
I
being
think
said,
Buddhism does qualify.
well, I say, and if you're Christian, I said if you're Christian.
None of it's Buddha.
But
he's a
that
deity.
being-
He's not here.
yeah, but
that
he
being
passes the
said-
spirit on to the next generation. There's always a new elected.
It's about nirvana.
deity.
There is no time in Buddhism. So in Buddhism, nirvana is nirvana. Time is immaterial in Buddhism. So when you reach nirvana, you reach nirvana. The time itself doesn't really matter. It's becoming at one with the universe and reaching enlightenment.
Yeah,
I'm gonna-
but
go ahead,
like the
sorry.
Buddhist monk, or
Yes.
like there can only be one, and they're identified as a youth by taking these tests of like
Yes.
being psychic and all this kind of stuff, and then like the Buddhist spirit is now within you, and you will become the representation. So at that point, it is a physical.
What's the Dalai
His
Lama?
representation.
That's the
Dalai
Dalai
He's
Lama.
not
Okay.
Buddha.
Yeah.
As Buddhist,
Yes.
right?
Well, so it's kind of like a reincarnation thing. So So the Dalai Lama passes from generation to generation, which hey, look, cool thing for you. The current Dalai Lama said that his spirit will no longer pass into the future.
Interesting. Well, doesn't
Yes.
the Pope do that too, though?
No, the Pope.
There isn't a Pope for every generation.
No,
No,
there
it's
is,
not
there
a
is, there's.
incarnation.
But the difference is that okay. What was the previous mayor to Cleveland?
Michael White.
White.
Yes. Okay. So the authority of Michael White passed forward to the current mayor, who is
Frank Jackson.
Frank Jackson. All right. So the authority, the authority and the title pass from person to person, but is not the same person.
Right.
But the authority and the title do. That's the difference. It's not the same person that passes from station to station. We can't say generation to generation because it can happen multiple times in the same generation. But it's the authority and the title that pass from one to the next. And so since Peter to now, you have somebody who passes the authority, the torch forward, with the same spiritual connection to Peter.
So you're saying that Catholics look at the Pope
As Peter.
someone like a mayor, like we do with the
Yes. Yes. But both on two sides. On the spiritual side and the physical side. And that's why when Jesus said that what you say, what you loose or unloose, is unloosed on earth as it is in heaven. It is actually the authority of the apostles with Peter in charge passing from generation to generation. And that's the authority passed as on earth as in heaven.
So would you argue that every religion, in respect to their own religion, needs that person figurehead? Otherwise, there's just chaos.
I would say that without a authoritative figure, you have chaos.
Yeah,
you have anarchy.
So Buddhism needs their Buddha.
Islam
Islam needs their Muhammad.
All
The
right.
Jews need their.
But not all Buddhists would agree, though. That's the difference. So,
I don't know what you
because
think,
your
but-
Zen Buddhists would not agree with your Tibetan Buddhists.
or whatever. But
So-
so everyone needs their.
And that's usually a strong argument for like religion being fake. It's a way to control the human beings.
I would disagree.
So organized religion.
I would disagree.
All right.
with
Do
you.
they need their person?
You need some form of organization. I would say that.
It feels like corporatism.
Not necessarily, because in a lot of religions, let's take Zen Buddhism for example. In Zen Buddhism, it's different from
Buddhists are too cool. Don't use them. Use Catholicism as an
leave
example.
Buddhists alone. Now,
I agree. Use the Buddhists alone. Let's talk
So-
about Catholicism. Is
so-
Catholic? Come on.
let's talk about
Tell us why
Buddhists.
Catholics aren't corporate-y
Let's talk
in
about
their golden
Buddhists.
palace.
Since
Come on.
I already have the
No one cares about that. We're like a Christian
Anyway.
show. You don't know Buddhists.
You're a Christian?
George Trump,
For the right
shut
now,
up.
yeah. Baptized Catholic.
So,
Always got it.
Inventors of science.
When I died, I'm wrong. I'd be like, I swear I was baptized Catholic.
so,
I should have listened to my mom.
so we're not going to listen to the conservative Georgian right now. So, so going back to Buddhism, Zen Buddhists are a little bit different than other Buddhists, and here's the reason why. The Zen temples are autocephalous, and each one is ran by that monastery or ashram, okay? And unlike other versions or other Zen sects, they run their own gardens and own way to support their monastery. They are workers. They run all their own stuff in order to bring in their own monetary gains because they don't want to be a parasite on the people. They don't want to be monks out there simply begging for alms. So in order to avoid that, what they do is they will take alms if somebody wants to give. However, they also support their selves inside of their own means. And in that way, they're a lot like a Trappist monk. Since you wanted to parlay that into Christianity, Trappists make their own beer. Trappists make their own whiskey and their own wine and their own. So most monasteries actually do support themselves through their own means. Go ahead.
Okay, question. Go
So
ahead, George.
Catholic and being all corporate-y and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, so corporates, I suppose I gather from that is an entity that can fund itself.
Yes. Just like Zen Buddhists or Trappist Christian monks.
In your original point, just, hey, I don't know if we've gotten so far off the subject. Are we?
Yeah,
just,
we're not
just-
talking about Genesis.
We really have.
Do we want to take this opportunity to kind of go back, or should we just?
We probably should. We probably
Yeah,
should.
yeah.
We probably should jump back in to
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve and Genesis. So,
We're
again,
getting pretty long too.
the
Straight up.
that's okay because I don't have too many points left. You've pretty much stretched a lot of that.
I'm sorry, Juice.
There you go.
It's all right.
It's the George and Aaron show.
I'm ready for you. I don't know. Mike and Gumby have both have really good points in this one as well.
That's true. Yeah.
But remember, we are leading with the material of the very ancient world in the Mesopotamian basin that had shared cultural motifs. You have to read from their point of view, not from ours.
Yeah, and I get it. And again, my argument is, and maybe I'm just going to stop it because maybe this is going nowhere, is that you find that very unique and interesting. You find it intriguing that they have these motifs, but I think it's just a recipe for how to create a religion.
All right.
I think it's garbage.
Adam.
I'm saying like John Smith with Mormonism is like, well, to make someone believe this bullshit, there's these rules I have to follow.
All right.
No one else knows it. Just me. The God is invisible. Blah blah blah. Like,
All right, so Adam,
it's not interesting to me at all.
what does Adam mean?
I don't know because I don't speak Latin. They didn't have Latin back then, so I don't know what Adam.
Adam's not Latin.
Just means man, right?
It's Hebrew. It means human. You could literally translate every place where you see Adam as the human.
What about Eve?
It means life. Now you can't tell me that there isn't a story right there in their names. Human life. Human life. Adam and Eve. So again, we go back to the motifs and the myths meaning more than what we think they mean. Human life. Adam and Eve.
Yeah, I don't know. I never liked that argument. I think it's just a cop out. And oftentimes, like I think it was even mentioned today, it's like, oh well, we'll never understand God because his realm of thinking is just so much bigger than ours. Like, it's just a cop out.
Well, let's take Eve for example. So Eve inside Hebrew is Tsela, all right, and Tsela, a good rendition of the transliteration into English would be sides, and a lot of the rabbinic people.
Sides?
Yeah, so a
Like
lot,
sides to a building?
exactly. Actually, yes, because sides is referred to as the Ark of the Covenant or the sides of the tabernacle. So a lot.
Different region.
Okay, so we have regional. Mike?
Terminology.
Terminology. George?
Probably say regional.
Regional. All right. So, it's thought process. It's thought process because humans were defined through the gods and created through mud. And that is all throughout the
Well, we
early
weren't.
Mesopotamian legends.
I mean, we weren't, though.
Wait. The early Jewish tales depart from that, and here's the reason why.
Is it stupid?
Because dust equals mortality. All right, so origination in the Jewish mind actually shows that man is mortal from his inception. Now, I know a lot of people don't believe that, especially among the charismatic people. So, Adam was made immortal. All right, I have a question for you. If Adam was made immortal, why did he need a tree of life?
Right. I don't think he was made immortal.
No, I don't think so either. And again, among the other Mesopotamian people, mud is how people were created. Dust.
Well, if we're talking about the Old Testament, then if you said the Hebrew mind, then I would be more likely.
All right,
to
all right.
concede, but-
So the Hebrew
If you get
mind.
dust wet, doesn't it just turn to mud anyway?
Yes, but it wasn't wet.
And
All
if
right,
we're
so-
talking Hebrew, then we're talking again back to the African continent.
And I have no problem with that. I really don't. I really don't. I really believe that we are all of African descent anyhow. So I have no problem with that at all.
I mean, if you
When
can
you think about going back to just two people, it's hard to get out of that. Like, how do all these human species come out, or different races and all of that? But
Yes.
if you pull it out of the religious realm, then it's kind of not that hard. I mean, we're born in different regions, we get different sun exposure, different altitudes, etc., etc. We got keep it in the religious realm, then it gets hard when we go back to
What?
Adam and Eve.
It's not from
I
evolution.
totally get you. I just,
From
I'm
the
trying to wrap up the show.
evolutionary aspect.
If you
that-
would like to jump on there, I'd be all about it.
From the evolutionary aspect, it's not hard
Okay.
to understand that though, because we adapt for our environment.
Sure. Yeah. I agree.
And we are. I don't care who says this, because I've had so many people come against me for this. Ultimately, we are all from African descent. We are. I mean, I hate to say that there are people
So where was Adam and Eve
who
made?
disagree with me.
Where was Adam and Eve made?
But people have disagreed with me. We are all of African descent. We are all the same people.
I think that's the only plausible account based on how heredity works, based on the little chart, the tic-tac-toe thing. we do.
Yes.
A Caucasian cannot turn black.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
It's
I see what you
Yeah.
mean. But doesn't that like fly in the face of Semitic teaching in terms of religion? Like, isn't there some kind of like
I would
We're out
say not according to Orthodox Jews.
what about
what about
Catholicism?
Catholicism?
Because if you talk to the ultra-Orthodox Jews,
What about
they have no
Catholicism?
issues with it.
I know
So-
that.
Really?
So what about Catholicism? What
In
about-
Catholicism, we believe in common ancestry. 100 years before Darwin, we invented it. It really does come down to we are the same species.
Well, that I agree with. But
I don't think there's any difference between an African American and an American and a Russian and a Hebrew, and there's no difference. We're all the same people.
I agree with that.
We are the
100%. But that's where
world.
religion
We
kind
are
of just
the people.
seems to conflate that. So, but I don't know.
yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
So, and again, if you go to earlier, I had mentioned John Walton.
Okay.
All right, and I credit him with my parlaying into the early Hebrew idea of the cosmos as a temple. All right, because he's the one that guided me in that direction, and it turns out it's 100% true. If you go back to the early context, it even says, so this is, I'm going to quote Walton real quick here. I'm going to start expediting this because we've gone on pretty long. In the biblical text, the description of the tabernacle and temple contained many transparent connections to the cosmos. This connection was explicitly recognized as early as the 2nd century AD in the writings of the Jewish historian Josephus, who says of the tabernacle, every one of these objects is intended to recall and represent the universe. In the outer courtyard were various representations of cosmic geography. So it's very interesting when you look at that. And even he goes on to define that even when, I believe it's in Exodus, when it talks about the lighting of the candles inside of the temple and the tabernacle, it's the exact same Hebrew word for when he lights the cosmos and the stars. So he's literally equating the cosmos to his temple. So you can look at Genesis 1 and 2 however you want, but in the Hebrew, it's a temple ceremony. It's not a creation tale.
But you're basing that. It almost seems like you're flipping them. You know what I mean? Like the creation story had its thing, and then the Hebrews represented it in a temple. But so you're saying because they presented it as a temple, the creation story becomes the universe as a temple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the same Hebrew words being used. Believe it or not, there's no creative words being used in Genesis 1 and 2.
Huh.
It's
Yeah.
it's assignment language.
I'm not necessarily going to disagree. I'm going to be that's one point where I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, the Bible says the earth is his footstool and the universe is his temple. So I agree with that. I'm sorry. Just kind of talked myself into it.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
That was a beautiful transition.
You're gonna twist my arm, Mike.
Aaron, you're right.
So, and that parlays into the same terminology as Adam being the priest inside of the temple, because you have Abad in Shamar inside of the Hebrew language, which people always say is to serve and to guard. To serve and to guard. Whereas people will say it's, to keep and to garden. But in the Hebrew, it actually means to serve and to guard, which is temple language. It is only used of priests in the Bible. So again, Genesis 1 and 2 is directly using priestly language.
This show needs to wrap up. Is my response to that. We're wrapped, man. I know you want to get all this content in, but I think we're.
No. That's actually pretty much where I'm ending.
All right.
So, again, Genesis 1 and 2 can mean many things in Hebrew, but it is not so much a creation tale as it is simply God assigning the cosmos as his priesthood and his temple.
I think it's a big part of creation, though, in there. You maybe not specifically and only.
But
I would think
you're
primarily.
taking it from an English translation, whereas if you look at it in the Hebrew context, it's definitely more of temple and holy priesthood. And remember, the first 11 chapters were probably written during the Babylonian exile. Much, much later. Not by Abraham or Moses. Much, much later. They're probably written by the Babylonian exile.
I think on papyrus or whatever during the Babylon, but they were passed along before that, maybe verbally or something, right?
Oh, orally they were passed down. Yes.
I'm still clinging to spirituality as something different than religion.
I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think I've had spiritual connections at times,
Okay.
but definitely not anything tied to organized religion.
Mm-hmm. So
All right.
you believe you're spiritual?
I'm not very spiritual. I'm trying to think. Yeah, again, it's kind of a big question. I'm not incredibly spiritual. I'm not seeking it out. I don't go out and reach out for it. I mean,
But you've had
This is-
spiritual moments.
I have,
Okay.
right?
That's cool.
But it has definitely has nothing to do with anything like read in this book here or anything like that, But yeah. I mean, this might be part of me trying to find spirituality or whatnot. Maybe this is part of my exploration, part of my adventure towards finding it. But other than that,
I disagree, but that's
me
okay.
saying I'm not a spiritual person.
No. I mean, no.
That it's not that it's not connected.
I believe it is connected. I believe all spirituality at some point is connected
To
to those seeking the ultimate answers and those seeking their creator. I believe that all spirituality at some point is
Involves an
connected.
invisible person in the sky that you can't see.
I believe that.
Yeah.
You can see him, but
You can say
not
sky.
from a.
Would you say that everyone's spirituality is an invisible person in the sky?
No, I would say interdimensional.
So you can't see them, but they're interdimensional.
Well, can you see the fifth dimension?
No.
All right. So I would say interdimensional.
All right. So are you making a blanket statement for all the small religions in the world that their god, their deity, isn't visible?
So,
that's
again-
that's very Trump conservative of you for you to say that.
So
And
again,
I'm just sticking up for the little guy. I mean,
I'm
I'm talking about Christianity and Islam, but I mean that's not all religions.
How did we get back here, George?
Because you just agreed to, after all that, you just turned around and agreed with me. After all that hell he gave me, pun
again,
intended.
I'm going to be quite liberal in this, and I'm going to say that I believe that all religions are seeking the Creator in their own idea of where the Creator comes from.
Oh, that's a big statement for a Catholic.
Believe it or not, if you know the Catechism, it's not. So I believe
I'm
that
not Catholic.
I believe that all religions are looking for the same answer and the same Creator. It's just that they may be looking through a glass a little darker than we may be.
Even if they view your glass as darker.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
I hate the rejection of other religions.
But that's just it, though.
Well-
We're not rejecting other religions.
You're just saying
Groups.
Yeah. We're not
Even if you're in
rejecting.
a different group than they are, because they're in a
Yeah.
group.
We do believe that they are looking for the same answer there. In fact, we also believe that they also may find the answer inside of their religion. So,
very
unlike
Catholic.
most religions that say that everybody else is wrong, we do believe that people can find the answer inside of where they're looking if they can't find the answer or don't have the route to find the answer. We do believe that an earnest looking can bring them to the answer.
We can keep on this the whole night.
Yes, we
I
could.
know. That's why I'm like, George, why are you talking still?
So, Mike, how do you feel about tonight?
Yeah, I think
Final thoughts?
It was definitely, we covered a lot of ground in a lot of different directions.
Gumby?
You know, I think that last train of thought was a great one. I think it's one that I wish a lot more Protestants and evangelicals would explore. Is that, can you find the Creator of all human life or purpose outside of your own version or doctrine of everything? Can it be found outside of that? You know, are there multiple paths to the Creator? So that's my kind of final thoughts. And there's nothing taboo over brew.
George!
I'm just saying at the end, Juice was saying that everyone's trying to find their invisible creator that's not intangible. Earth is what I was trying to say, and he turned around and agreed with me. I'm gonna punch him in the head and hail Satan.
Oh gosh.
Please check us out.
Music! Cue music!
Please check us out. By the way, I'm going to say that Satanists can't find the answer. Anyway, please check us out on virtually every social media platform, including Tumblr and Twitter and Instagram, especially Instagram. We have a lot of posts there. Please look us up on Patreon. And you can even give to us on Anchor, the platform of our choice. So, again, we love you. Have a great night.
Good night.
Peace!